Welcome to Vysh IAS. So we are continuing with the second episode of Polity and the 10th episode of the Plums series. Okay, so hope this series is getting helpful to all of you. Please go through it, and it is the best exercise which you can give before your prelims, which is scheduled on May 28th. So without any further delay, we'll start. Okay, before that, I want to request all of you to please subscribe to this channel Vysh IAS, and if you're looking for a good quality test series, then you can contact the number which is given on the screen. Okay, the number is 7200681675. Okay, so we'll start with today's session. So if you look at the first MCQ of today, it is asking about the National Legal Services Authority. Okay, if you see in UPSC, these types of constitutional bodies and non-constitutional bodies becomes important from the prelims perspective. Okay, every year you will be getting questions from this area. So what you can do is you can make a table like format. Okay, you can make a table like format, and you can enlist all the bodies which is coming in current affairs and which are important also, and you can actually note down some features of those bodies. Then it will become easy for you. You can compare and study different bodies. Okay, other than that, they are not going to ask anything. If you know about if you know 3 or 4 points about one particular body, that will be enough. Okay, so if you look here, the first statement reads, National Legal Services Authority has been constituted under the Legal Services Authorities Act. Okay, and these kinds of legal backup, this is the first statement which is most probable of coming in the examination. Okay, if you see this statement, this is completely correct. This body has been constituted under this act only, Legal Services Authorities Act. And the second statement reads, in every state legal services authority has been constituted to give effect to the policies and directions of the NALSA and give free legal services to the people and conduct law catalogs in the state. Even this statement is also correct. Don't mark it as a wrong statement simply because you see every state. Okay, every state, or the words like every or all these words are most probably incorrect in UPSC prelims, but not in all the cases. Beware of that fact. Okay, here in this case, in the case of NALSA, this every state is having the state legal services authority, and it is aimed at imparting faster justice and decentralization of justice. So in this aspect, this topic becomes important, and I have given some points also, some extra points which you should remember with respect to this body. What is the structure of this NALSA? If you see, you are having 3-tier structure, one at the central level and other at the state level and then at the district level. Okay, so this is the 3-tier structure that you can just revise the topic. And if you see, the Chief Justice of India is the patron in chief of this body. Okay, so other than this, nothing more is required. If you know at least these much points, you can actually eliminate the options. Okay, now come to the second question. With respect to Indian history, which of the following statements on the Constituent Assembly is incorrect? Again, read the question very carefully. Okay, it is asking about incorrect. Don't jump it. Be at the presence of mind. Okay, presence of mind is very important in examination. Don't mark the answer simply because you are losing your presence of mind. Read the question carefully before answering any question. So first statement, it is reading, it was not a representative body since the members were not directly elected by adult franchise. Yes, it is correct. So when you are learning this evolution of constitution, that is the first topic in polity, the evolution of constitution. Okay, so when you are learning this topic, try to memorize it in a timeline approach so that it becomes easy for you. Okay, in 1934, what is the first instance of Constituent Assembly? What is the first step for the making of Indian Constitution, and which all people were involved in it? What are the major roles? Try to remember in that way and in a timeline approach. That becomes easy for you. Okay, so if you look at the statement, this is correct. It was not a representative body. Yes, it's true. It was not a completely representative body. Elections at that point of time were not feasible also. Okay. Then second statement, it was fully independent and sovereign body. Here a check is there. It was an independent body, but it was not a sovereign body. And this you can answer with common sense also. Already, if you know that the Cabinet Mission Plan of 1946 was the incident just before the making of Constituent Assembly, then you can easily eliminate this statement. So here it is understood that the British only had created this body. Okay, so it is actually a meaning of, it is actually an application of common sense only. Okay, so it was an independent body, yes, right, but it was not a sovereign body because it was constituted on the basis of Cabinet Mission Plan which was an initiative of British. Okay, so the second statement is incorrect. So you can go with answer C. 2 only is the correct answer. Okay. Again, then I have given some points also. See, sometimes UPSC has a habit of asking these kinds of point also. How many people were there at the time of constitution? So initially, if you look, the number of members was 389, and after partition, what was the thing happening? How much? What is the changes in composition? Sometimes, as the third or fourth statement, or fourth or fifth statement, they'll give these kinds of weird points. But then you can eliminate the options based on the previous 3 points. At the maximum, they'll be giving 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 points they'll give, and out of these 5 points, anyway you will be in a position to eliminate 3 options based on your static understanding. Okay, so that will do. So if you want, you can actually take a note of these points also. Okay. Then these kinds of personalities are also important. How many major committees were there? How many minor committees were there? Who are all the prominent persons involved in the making? For example, B.R. Ambedkar. So these kinds of points also becomes important. Who is the first chairman? Who is the first drafting chairman? That kinds of things. Okay, who is the chairman of the minor committee? All these kinds becomes important. So it's just a matter of time. You can just revise those topics. Okay. So here if you see Dr. Sachidananda Sinha, he was the first temporary chairman of Constituent Assembly. This is not a common fact, but then you can remember this topic. Even if UPSC wants to ask a question from this area, they can ask this also. Okay, so please take note of this point. Then coming to the third question. An amendment to the Constitution of India can be initiated by the introduction of bill in Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Okay. And second statement reads, if such an amendment seeks to make changes in the federal character of the constitution, amendment also requires to be ratified by the legislature of all states in India. And the third statement reads, constitution prescribes the time limit for the states to give their consent. Okay, and in the previous session itself, I have told you that parliament is the most important topic in UPSC polity. Okay, so you have to be very, very crystal clear about different types of bills, how it is being passed, who are the people involved in all these things. The complete proceedings you should be very clear. Only then you can attempt questions from this area. So if you look at the first statement, this is completely correct. Both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, okay, they can initiate a bill with respect to amendment of constitution. And second statement, there is a slight mistake. The ratification process is required by not the all states but by half of the states. This is a standard fact which is given in Lakshmikant only. So this is an important statement, and you should not go and mark the statement as correct simply because you see all the states. Okay, so it is actually half of the states ratification which is required to change the federal character of the constitution. Then third statement, the constitution prescribes a time limit for the states to give their consent. This is also incorrect statement. This is not correct. Okay, because there is no time limit by which the states have to give their consent to such a bill. Okay, so constitutional amendment bill, it is not having any time limit also. So the question is asking which of the following statements are correct. So if you look, third statement is already eliminated. It is incorrect. No. So C and D already eliminated. C and B already eliminated. Then if you look, 1 only and 1 and 3 only. So first statement, you know it's correct. Third, it is incorrect. Okay, so the answer comes out to be 1 only. 2 and 3 are incorrect only. Okay, so try these elimination techniques in your actual UPSC prelims also. Okay, then I have given brief brush up about this constitution amendment bill. If you need, you can pause the screen and please read this. Okay. Then coming to the fourth question. So this is asking about the features of parliamentary government. In the context of India, which of the following principles is or are implied institutionally in the parliamentary form of government? So first statement is reading, the Prime Minister along with the Council of Ministers from the executive and the Parliament is the legislature. Okay. Then second is reading, the leader of this form of government is the Prime Minister. Generally, the leader of the party that wins the majority of the lower house is appointed as the PM. Then third is reading, the term of government depends upon its majority support in the lower house. Okay, so if you see the major features of different types of government, parliamentary form of government, presidential form of government, what are the features of federalism, what are the features of unitary form of government, what are the difference, all these things you should be very clear, and this is a sure shot question in UPSC Prelims. Okay, you will get a question regarding to parliamentary form or presidential form or something like that. So you have to be very clear if you have to attempt these kind of questions. So simple statements will be given only. First statement, if you read, it is correct. Yes, Prime Minister along with the Council of Ministers, PM plus Council of Ministers, they form the executive and the parliament is the legislature. Yes, this is correct. Even the second statement is also correct. The form of government, it is led by Prime Minister, so that it is called prime ministerial form of government. The UK government, we have adopted the system from UK only. So this parliamentary form of government is actually called prime ministerial form of government simply because Prime Minister is that important in this system of government. Then generally the leader of the party, that means a majority in the lower house, they are appointed as the PM. Okay, so this also becomes an important fact. Then third, the term of government depends upon majority support. Yes, there is no fixed tenure. Okay, if the Lok Sabha is intending to pass the no confidence motion, then the government must resign. This is a standard fact. So if you look at the statement, all the options are correct, all the statements are correct. So you can go with option D, 1, 2 and 3 only. Okay, then I have given some important features with respect to parliamentary form of government. This is there in Lakshmikant only. If you need, you can go through that itself. Okay, that will do. Okay, so if you need, you can just pause the screen and have a brief look at this. Then the next question, last question of the day. Government enacted the Panchayat extension to the Scheduled Areas Act in 1996. Which of the following is correct? So options: PISA Act was enacted in 1996 to provide for extension of provisions of Part 11 of the Constitution relating to Panchayats. Again, I have told in the previous class also, whenever you are seeing some provisions relating to the Constitution, some articles will be mentioned, or some years will be mentioned, or some schedules will be mentioned, or some parts. Okay, most probably it will be incorrect only. In this case also, it's coming out like that only. Here if you see, it's not Part 11, it's actually Part 9, which is dealing with this PISA Act. So since both are looking similar, you will not have that you will have the temptation to mark it as a correct statement due to the pressure of exam. Don't do like that. Please read the question very carefully. Okay, and please go through the statement once more before marking the answer. Then under the Act, scheduled areas. So this statement is correct, incorrect. A is incorrect. Then coming to the B. Under the Act, scheduled areas are those referred in Article 244(1), which says that the provisions of 5th schedule shall apply to scheduled areas and scheduled tribes in the states other than Assam, Meghalaya, Tripura and Mizoram. This how to remember, I have told in the last class also, how to remember the 5th schedule, 6th schedule and all. Okay, so here if you see the second statement, even though some articles and schedule is mentioned, all those are correct only. Okay, these scheduled areas are mentioned in 244(1) and 5th schedule only. Okay, so these are all standard facts. You should be aware of these facts. Okay, so this is correct statement. This comes out to be the correct statement. So this is the answer. Answer is B. And if you see at the third statement, PISA empowers Gram Sabhas to play a key role in approving development plans and controlling all social sectors, including all forest produce. If you look at the statement, can you please guess what is the why the statement is incorrect? Can you please guess? Please take a minute, pause, and please guess why the statement is incorrect. Okay, so if you look at this statement, this C, statement number C, this is not all forest produce. It is actually talking about only the minor forest produce. Okay, forest produce can be major forest produce and minor forest produce. Major forest produce is not covered in this act, but with respect to minor forest produce, this Gram Sabhas is having some amount of power. Okay, they can take some decisions with respect to this minor forest produce, not with respect to major forest produce. This is the wrong statement. Okay, this is the wrong statement in this statement. Then the nodal authority to implement PISA is Taluk. Again, this is the wrong statement. So if you have to attempt this question, you don't know this question, but still if you have to attempt, you can actually apply some elimination tricks also. See, whenever two statements are contradicting in a question, then you can eliminate those two statements. If you look at C and D, here it is talking about Gram Sabha. PISA is empowering Gram Sabha. Then obviously Gram Sabha should be the nodal authority. And statement number D, it is talking about taluks. These are contradictory statement. So if D is correct, then C is not correct. And similarly, if C is correct, then D is not correct. That logic also you can try in examination. Okay, in this case both are incorrect. So please apply those logics in examination. Okay, so today's session is completed. If you have some doubts, please comment in the comment box. Thank you.